Okay, let's take a look at the U.S. national debt clock. First off, we see that the U.S. national debt itself is getting ready to cross $20 trillion. It's 19,924,000,000,000 and counting and change, and it'll soon be crossing that threshold. Now, if we take a look down here at the very bottom of the chart, you'll see in the red numbers there 106 trillion. That's the U.S. unfunded liabilities using GAAP accounting principles. Now, here's the thing. Each and every taxpayer, it shows here, is liable for $884,000. That means that you, if you pay taxes in the United States, you owe $884,000 to pay off the government's debts. That means you're in debt, $884,000, each single person. But they've checked people on the street and they've asked them, can you come up with $400? If your life depended on it, could you put $400 on the table? And most of them, I think a high percentage of them said, no, I can't come up with $400. They can't even come up with $400, but they owe $884,000, each and every one of them. Everybody knows what we're looking at here in the national debt and the U.S. unfunded liabilities, including Social Security, Medicare, the budget deficit. Everything is just absolutely unsustainable. It's going straight up, and it can't be stopped. Donald Trump's not stopping it. If anything, it's increasing in speed. The currency and credit derivatives bubble is increasing in speed since Donald Trump's been elected in office. The derivative bubble's growing larger, exponentially larger. It was starting to slow down there. I've been watching it. I've had my eye on it all along, and it's been starting to actually slow down. And now it's sped back up again. The bubble's expanding at an unbelievable rate. If that bubble pops, everything's over. I mean, if the current and credit C derivatives bubble pops, it's 636, according to this here, it's 636 trillion. But as some estimates has been as high as $1 quadrillion. It's absolutely unsustainable as well. Everything's going down the toilet. The Fed is boxed in. The Fed has a dilemma here. The interest rates, they're data dependent on interest rates, not interest rates, but on your inflation rate going up. Inflation rate tipped early this year. It went up and it tipped over and it's fell back down some. And the Federal Reserve doesn't know what to do about it because they're absolutely determined and they have to go through with these interest rate hikes. Otherwise, the economy's going to fail, and they know it. And so they got another hike coming up here in June that they have to do. And this could tip everything over. The stock market, the whole barrel could tip over, but they're going to risk it anyway. They're going to risk it because they're absolutely in a desperate position, the Fed is at this point. They're boxed in. It's like a boxed canyon. I'll tell you kind of what's happening is, picture if you woke up some really cold morning, and it's cold outside and you're in bed and you got the bed covers all warmed up underneath there, but it's really cold in the room and you stick a leg out. The leg starts to get cold and you stick another leg out, it starts to get cold. If you get a shiver, I'm going to tell you that it'll come suddenly. And that's the way with the Fed. They've been tipping their toe out, lipping the leg out, and they've been, if they're going to get cold, it's going to come suddenly. It's bam, the economy, and then they're going to go back under the covers. Another illustration I've used is about Janet Yellen steering a giant ship on the Mississippi, one of those big steamboats. And she's going along, and there's a sandbar up ahead. And the guy that does the measuring of the water, he tells her, "Don't go, no, Captain, you can't go across that sandbar." And she says, "Oh, yes, I can, full steam ahead." And that's what they are right now. They're going full steam ahead. But when she hears that ship slide up on that sandbar, all of a sudden she's going to panic. And she's going to run back, and she's going to tell the engine room to turn the ship around, turn the propeller the other way. And all of a sudden they're going to try to turn that ship around. And it's not easy to turn a big ship around, especially when it's stuck on a sandbar. And then panic will set in. So they're not panicking right yet because the ship is still going full steam ahead. They haven't run aground yet. Now, how they would run aground is if they raise interest rates this next time, and I think they will get away with the June rate hike. I'm not sure about it, though. I'm not sure they'll get away with it, but I think they might get away with it. So they raise rates in June, and the stock market stays up, and they'd get away with it. Then they're going to raise again in September. When they raise in September, they're going to lose it. They're going to tip this bucket over because basically what they're doing is very similar to a game of Jenga. If you've ever saw Jenga, it's these wood blocks, and they build a tower out of these wood blocks, and then they take the blocks out from underneath. And everything seems good. You're pulling these blocks out, and you're having fun. And you've pulled about 4, 5, 6 blocks out, and the tower starts to teeter, but you think you can still pull more? Well, this is the way that these Federal Reserve people, they don't know any better. They think that they can just keep pulling these blocks and nothing will happen. The tower comes down suddenly. That's the thing. And they're data dependent, and they want to always do things gradually. Gradual growth, gradual this, gradual that. They're not used to sudden moves. The problem is what they're doing will create a sudden move in the markets. And when they get this sudden move in the markets, this is what they panic. Then they panic. And they try to go back. But there'll be no going back. Because if they go back, then they're going to destroy the dollar at this point. Because everything's hinged at this point. The dollar's been eroded for many, many years. The Asians are ready to turn on the dollar and destroy it. They're just waiting. They're just waiting in the wings. The Chinese are just waiting in the wings. They've got their gold. They've got it all stocked away, all piled away. Something like 24,000 tons of it, and silver to boot. And one of the reasons. Now, okay, what I'm going to tell you right now is something that I believe is true, but I don't know if for absolute certain it's true. I believe that one of the reasons why we've been continued able to get silver, and we haven't run out of silver so far, is the fact that China has been supplying the silver market. Well, this is my personal belief, is that China is one of the suppliers of the silver market. And the reason why they've been doing this, China has been doing this, is to keep the whole situation from folding up on them, and the whole situation from coming to a dead stop, and then they wouldn't get any more gold if that happened. The gold price would surge suddenly, boom. The gold price would go boom. So what they've been doing is they've been supplying the silver market so that all these stores like AppMax and Kitco and all these places you guys like to go, to get your silver, have an inventory. And if they didn't supply them, this is what I believe. If the Chinese didn't supply them, they would have been dry a long time ago. And the silver price would have exploded. Because the day that there's a stoppage in delivery of physical silver is the day that the silver market implodes on itself. And the whole thing shoots to the moon. And it's all discovered that these paper contracts are nothing but hot air. That's the day that there's not a delivery. The day that the delivery's not made. And so the Chinese, I think, have been keeping these deliveries going at a deficit of their own silver supply, and so that they can keep pumping the gold in, because the silver price and the gold price are tied together. If silver shoots to the moon, what do you think is going to happen to the price of gold? It's going to shoot to the moon too. And vice versa. If gold shoots to the moon, silver will lag a little bit behind, but it'll follow gold up. Seeing the same thing. You're seeing the same thing in Bitcoin. Bitcoin shoots to the moon. What happens to Litecoin? And Ethereum too. Ethereum now is becoming a super coin like Litecoin and Bitcoin. All three of them are going to be traveling together. They're all traveling buddies. I don't know so much about Dash. Dash might stick with them, but it might fall back into the wayside. But I can tell you one thing. The three biggies are Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. And those are the three big cryptocurrencies. And so anyway, I'm starting to stray a little bit. But I think the Chinese have been supplying the market with silver because they want to get the gold. And when they get all the gold and they figure our vaults are empty, or they're not going to get what they want to get out of here, they're going to keep this game going. The Chinese will keep this game going until there's no gold left available for them. And then they're going to pull the curtain down. And you're going to see what they're really made of then at that point. You're going to see the Chinese. They're going to show their hand at that point. And they really mean to destroy our financial system with gold. It's been the plan all along. They've been secure in the gold. And at a certain point, when they drop the curtain, and they go and they're able to back everything with gold, their banks and their everything, and they're able to back things with gold, and we don't have any gold. There's an old saying, he who has the gold makes the rules. Yeah, that's right. And they're going to have the power then. This is their plan. The West over here, all we're going to have is digital gold. And not that much of that, because the Chinese have been sucking all that up too. The Indians are going to want all that. And Africa will take what's left. And so there's a few Americans over here, and we're buying some, if we can. But we're not getting the quantities. If you there's one site you can go to there that shows where the Bitcoins are going. The purchases. It shows the purchases where they're going. And visibly, it shows them. I forget where it is, but it shows the coins floating into certain countries. And it's kind of interesting to watch it. But at any rate, they're all flowing into China big time. They've been flowing into China and not so much flowing into the West. So everything's going to China. All the wealth of the world is going to China. And all that's left is all these paper dollars. And when the dollar goes down, what's that going to be worth? What's all these paper dollars going to be worth? Because that's what we got. We got lots of dollars. And what has China got? They got 24,000 tons of gold, and soon they'll probably have 25,000 tons and then 26,000 tons. Meanwhile, what we got left? 1,000 tons or something, and that'll be in their vault. When they get it all, that's it. Then they close the door. And so that's why I think they've been keeping the silver market from going dry, because they know that if the silver market goes dry, they're not going to get any more. And they're keeping this game going. And so anyway, so the Fed keeps seeing these more rate hikes coming, and their plan is to keep the rate hikes coming because they're boxed into a corner and they have to. And if they reverse this and the other way, the inflation's going to take off like a hot rocket, you know? And already you can see the dollar is losing ground, and that's with them doing rate hikes. They did the last rate hike, and instead of the dollar index going up, the dollar index went down. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble. In fact, everything's in big trouble. Everything's teetering on the brink. They know it. This is why Janet Yellen had a breakdown when she was talking not too long ago at a speech she was giving. She had a breakdown. She was stumbling over the words. It was the things that she was saying that gave her the breakdown. They said, oh, she was dehydrated or whatever. She wasn't dehydrated. There's lots of water all over the place, and they gave her a drink, too. It wasn't that was making her stumble. She was stumbling over what she was saying. It was upsetting her because she knew what the real reality is, and what the things that she was saying was in conflict with real reality. In other words, it's not even in touch with reality. So listen, thanks you for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next article. Bye.